As students head back to school, we know districts across the capital region and across the state are following a new mandate to help keep kids focused, the bell-to-bell cell phone ban. In this 13 Investigates, we look at how different districts are rolling out the ban and what it could mean for students this school year. We know the cell phone ban in schools is statewide, but how that plays out looks different from district to district. The goal is the same, but for some districts, they're still waiting to see how this all goes.
3 schools, 3 different versions of the same ban. We investigated how they're enforcing it and what that means for students, parents, and teachers. At Albany High School, it's the first year with yonder pouches. Superintendent Joseph Hawkrider says every student slips their phone into a locked pouch that stays sealed until the final bell.
We'll have adult supervision, whether it's hall monitors or some of our security personnel or our school administrators, making sure that students put their phone in the yonder pouch and that it's locked and that they keep it away during the day.
The district tested the system during summer school.
It went very, very well. That's not to say there weren't some kinks, but part of the opportunity of testing it and piloting it in summer school was to work out those kinks.
And what happens if a student refuses to go along?
It's very prescriptive, it's very predictable. If there is a progressive discipline set of consequences like other school conduct.
Hawkrider says parents have mostly been supportive, but with 2,700 students speaking more than 40 languages, even something simple like calling home can get complicated.
I had a very direct and personal conversation with the governor a few weeks ago. She asked me, Joe, how is it going? We had a couple lessons that we learned in Albany.
One of those lessons? Kids often don't know their parents' numbers anymore. And when students double as translators for their families, cutting off phones could mean cutting off communication. Hawkrider says those results hit hard in a district this diverse.
And that was a really important piece of information I shared with the governor, because we are absolutely the most diverse school district in a 150-mile radius.
At Averil Park Middle School, a different approach. Principal Rob Messia says instead of pouches, they're relying on lockers.
We don't view this so much as a mandate as we do an opportunity. So we look at kids using their phones less during the school day, which is really the goal. We want them to own that responsibility.
Lockers don't cost any new dime, a big difference for pouches, which can and has run districts tens of thousands of dollars. It's a small reflection of the reality for schools that can't afford pouches altogether.
We have lockers. It's a cost-friendly type of a way of approaching this type of a situation, but at the same time, there's real benefits to it.
But here's the question. How do you really know kids aren't sneaking them in?
Well, you'll know. Yeah, it's pretty evident if kids have it in their pocket or they're with them. We ask kids to put their backpacks and all their materials away.
Parents have been more supportive than expected, Messia says, especially once they saw research showing less cyberbullying, better engagement, and even stronger test scores where those bans are in place.
We've had a number of really great conversations. Back in the spring, we did a video presentation to all the students discussing all the benefits that we know from research and from other states that have implemented this kind of a policy.
But still, is relying on trust enough? Or are pouches the only way to guarantee no phones sneak into class? Bethlehem High School has been using yonder pouches for years now. Principal Dave Domel says at first, it wasn't easy.
I think that the majority of people, parents, teachers, definitely felt there was a need to move in this direction. That's not to say that there wasn't resistance.
Parents worried about safety. Students didn't want to give up something they'd always had. But Domel says this was never about punishment or just improving learning. It was about restoring what phones were taking away.
The social piece was starting to diminish.
Of course, not everyone followed the rules. He says some kids stashed burner phones or even TV remotes in their pouches. The school created a system. If you're caught, your phone goes into kind of a coat check for 30 days.
It wasn't detention, it wasn't suspension. The consequence did not affect their ability to move on with their academic day, social, after-school activities.
And Domel says, over time, something shifted.
The next thing you know, they're realizing they're communicating with teachers and building relationships stronger.
But is this success unique to Bethlehem? Or can every school get the same results? What we know so far, Albany is just starting to see how yonder works at scale. Averil Park is betting on lockers and trust. And Bethlehem has years of data suggesting pouches can change school culture.
I feel fortunate that we did it ahead of most other schools. I'm sure it's much easier for them now to say, hey, we have to do this. We were able to do it and then help a lot of other districts along with the process. We want them to use the supports here. Mom and dad are great, they're home.
You heard from teachers across different districts, but we also asked you, the parents, what you think about how schools are implementing the ban. Families flooded our Facebook page with hundreds of comments sharing strong opinions about the new policies and how they believe it will impact students. Many parents said they're uncomfortable with the idea of their kids not having a phone on them with no direct way to communicate. One person wrote, coming from someone who graduated 10 years ago, absolutely not. How many times a day do we check our phones at work? Sure, phones shouldn't be used during instruction, but banning them during lunch or study hall? That's unnecessary. Phones are part of everyday life. Just because you didn't have them back in your day doesn't mean it's the same now. But not everyone disagrees with the policy. Another parent shared, I have 3 kids in school, 2 with phones. I think the policy is fine. If they're bored in study hall, they can read or do homework. If they need me, they can call from the office. Most of the time, they're just texting me about lunch money. I don't think this is a big deal, and I imagine teachers will appreciate fewer distractions. We also visited Bethlehem High School and spoke with students about how the Yonder pouches are working for them. One junior even offered advice to students in districts just starting to use them, sharing what to expect.
It will grow on you. You will improve from it. You'll see a lot of improvement, even outside of school, where I'm not on my phone during sports or in the car, really. It's going to improve you a lot, and I would not be worried about it.
Of course, we know there's no shortage of opinions on this ban. To share yours or see what other families are saying, you can head to our WNYT Facebook page. To see more of our back-to-school stories, go to our website, WNYT.com.